Hey there, it's the Future Programmer here. In today's Python Fundamentals tutorial video, we will be writing a fun and practical program that utilizes object-oriented programming and really everything that we've learned so far about Python basics in this course. So, without further ado, let's get started. OOP is very important, not only in Python, but also in many other programming languages that you may learn in the future. Today, we're going to combine what we know about classes and objects with pretty much everything that we have learned so far in this course in creating a contacts database program. In this program, we're going to write two classes. Firstly, a contact class, which will model a contact, say, in your phone. For each contact, there's going to be a name, a phone number, and an email address associated to that contact. You can also feel free to add in other things, such as job and physical address, but these are what I will be using in my program. Secondly, we're going to have a community class. You can think about this as a group of people. There's going to be an instance attribute that stores the collection of contacts. We're going to write one method to add contacts to the community and another to removing contacts from the community. Lastly, we're going to have a method which we can use to search for a specific contact by name, phone number, or email address. So if I remember someone called John, but forgot what John's email address is, I can use this method to access the contact whose name is John and get the email address that way. Likewise, if I remember someone's phone number being 123, then I can use this method to access that contact's name. With that said, let's get started writing this program. Alright, so now I have made a file called contacts.py in Sublime Text where I'll be writing this program. The first thing we're going to need is a class called contact. Each instance of the contact class, so each contact object, is going to represent a person, which is why the init method is going to take three parameters: the person's name, their email, and their phone number. And inside this init method, which is called every time we create an instance of the contact class, we're going to assign those values passed in to instance attributes. So self.name is equal to name, self.email is equal to email, and self.phone is equal to phone. Those three things on the left side are the instance attributes associated to instances of the contact class. On the right side, those are the local variables of whatever is passed in when we create the object. It's good practice to always include an REPR method when writing our own classes. For the contact class, the string representation is going to be self.name and a dash, and then self.email, another dash, and then the phone number of the contact. Feel free to change it to whatever you like. This is what I'm going to go with for my contact class. So now if I make a contact object, so contact1 is equal to contact, let's pass in name of Bob, email of bob@bob.com, and phone number, let's pass in 123. If I print out contact1, you'll see bob@bob.com, and 123 as the output, because that's what's written right here. That's what's defined right here. So that's a clean output, and we're pretty much done with the contact class since we don't need to have any other methods or instance attributes and such. So now let's write the community class. So class community. You can think about this as a group of people. So a company, a school, a town, a city, something like that. You can also think about it as a database of contacts. So the init method is going to take one parameter, name. And this is going to be the name of the community. So New York City, Los Angeles, things like those. So self.name is equal to whatever is passed in. In addition to name, we're also going to have another instance attribute called self.contacts, which is equal to an empty list when we first create an instance of the community class. When you think about it, when we first make a community, when a city is newly founded, there are no one in it, so the contact is going to be empty, right? To add some contact to the contacts list, we're going to use the add method, which is going to take one parameter, new contact, and in the body of this method, we're going to write self.contacts.append new contact, not next, new contact. And then we're going to print out the string representation of new contact appended to added to self.name. So when we call the add method, we're going to pass in a contact object, so an instance of the contact class. That's going to be new contact, and we're going to append that object to contacts. Just like how we can store ints and booleans and other primitive data types in lists, we can also put our own objects inside a list, which is exactly what we're doing here. After appending it to the list, we're going to print out a message to the user. So the string representation of new contact has been added to the community with name of self.name. So let's define a community called community1 is equal to community. Let's put the name as somewhere. Very creative name. And community1.add contact1, not new contact, contact1. So community, we're going to call the add method of community1, and we're going to pass in contact1 as new contact, which is defined up here. So it's an instance of the contact class. So now I'm going to print out community1.contacts. So let's see who's in the contacts list of community1. Firstly, we see Bob at bob.com 123 has been added to somewhere. And that's the message printed out right here. And when we print out community1.contacts, we're going to see a list with one element in it. And we can see bob.com 123. So if I add another contact to community1, you'll see both contacts in the contacts list. So community1.add, and this time, instead of making the contact first and then storing it in the variable and then adding it, I'm just going to make a contact inside whatever is what's passed in to the add method. So contact, this time the person's going to be called Alice at email.com. The phone number is 321. So now we're going to see Bob has been added, Alice has been added, and inside the contacts list, we can see two people now. However, it's kind of a bad output when we just print out a list to see who's in a community. So why don't we make the repr method for the community class? So repr __. And we're going to return string. And we're going to build the string up first. So string is equal to community with name, self.name, and then a colon, and then \n. And then we're going to tell the user who's in this community. So for each contact in self.contacts, we're going to add the string representation of that contact to the output. So string plus equals, let's put 2 spaces here, or 1 space, that should work as well. And then the string representation of the contact, not the contacts, contact, and then a new line character. So now instead of printing out community1, let's print out just community. Let me print out an empty line here so it will appear clearer. So we can see Bob's added, Alice is added, and then community somewhere has Bob and Alice in it. That's much better than printing out a list, in my opinion. So the add method and the REPR method both work for the community class. Now, if we want to remove someone from the community, we can use the remove method. So define remove, and this time, since we're removing someone, we can't pass in the object to remove, right? So we can only use name, the email address, or the phone number. So what we want to achieve is we pass in name. So if we pass in Bob, then contact 1, this thing, is removed from community 1. If we pass in email of alice@email.com, then this contact object is going to be removed from community 1. And same thing with phone number. So how can we do that? Well, as we write this method header right now, we have to pass in all 3 things. But we don't want that, since sometimes we don't know all 3 value for the person, right? So we can default those parameter values to none. So if we don't pass in name, we only pass in, for example, email, then name is going to be none and phone is also going to be none. And then we're going to iterate through self.contact. So for each contact in self.contacts, if contact.name is equal to name, I'm going to explain what this is doing in just a moment. Let me just finish writing this. So contact.email is equal to email, or let me zoom out a little bit. Contact.phone is equal to phone. Then we're going to, I'm going to just do pass here for now. So what this is doing is we're iterating through each contact in the contacts list. So Bob and Alice. And then we're checking, is the name of the contact, right? So in this case, Bob, is it equal to what's passed in here? And if we passed in Bob as the name when we called the remove method, then this condition is going to be true, right? Since it's linked with or. So whatever's in here will be run. However, if we don't pass in a name value when we call the remove method, then name is going to be none. And since none is not equal to Bob, then this condition is going to be false, and it will check whether email or phone is going to be matched. And the same thing with those two as well. Hope that makes sense. And inside this if statement, we're going to remove that contact from the contacts list. So if the name, email, or phone matches, we're going to remove that contact from the contacts list. So I'm going to write this kind of strange statement. So self.contacts.pop self.contacts.index contact. What this is doing, if you remember, since this is a list, we can call the pop method. And this is going to be an index. And self.contacts.index is going to return the index at which contact is located in the list. So kind of think about this as this is accessing the index of contact in contacts. And then we're removing the item at this index from contacts. After that, we're going to write a message to the user. So str contact has been removed from self.name. So we're printing out, for example, Bob removed from somewhere, right? And then we're going to return contact. I don't think this is actually necessary to return contact, but since after removing one person from the list, we're going to exit out of the method. And if no one in the contacts list actually matches any of the name, email, and phone number, then we're going to print out no matching contact found. So since no one has the name passed in or email or phone number passed in, right? So let's test this. We've added contact 1 and we've added Alice as well. So let's remove, let's say phone number of 123. That's Bob. Let's see if this is going to be removed. So let me just print this out before and after and see if this works. So we add Bob and Alice. And we can see Bob and Alice are both inside community. And then Bob has been removed just by writing remove phone equals 123. Since this matches Bob, Bob is removed. And inside community somewhere, there's only Alice now in here. And instead of writing phone equals to 123, let's write email equals to alice@email.com. And we'll see Alice has been removed this time. And in the community, there is only Bob in here. And let's try something else. Let's try name equal to, not at, equal to someone who doesn't exist. And you'll see no matching contact has been found, and both people are still inside the community. So that's good. We now see that the remove method is also working properly. Lastly, we're going to implement kind of a filtering system for the community. So if I want to get a contact whose name is, for example, Bob, we can do that pretty much using the same structure as we did here. So name is equal to none, email equal to none, and phone is also equal to none. And for each contact in self.contacts, if, in fact, this is the same line, so I'm going to just paste this here. So if contact.name is equal to name or contact.email matches or phone matches, then we're going to return contact. And otherwise, we're going to return none if no matching record is found. In fact, I don't think this return statement is necessary since none is returned by default anyways. So let's just print out no matching contact found. That should work. In fact, the only difference between the remove and the get method now is that in remove, we're removing the element and printing it out and then returning it. And in get, we're just returning the element directly. I guess we can also use the get method inside remove instead of having to write the same thing, pretty much the same thing twice, but that's up to you. So let's test whether the get method actually works. So let me just print out community1.get phone equal to 321. So let's see if this Alice object has been printed out. So we can see, where is this again? Let me just get rid of this remove, and that's also not unnecessary. So we can see alice@email.com 321 has been outputted. So this searching system also works. So let's try 123, and we'll see Bob is the output. On the other hand, if I put like 111, we're gonna see no matching contact has been found and none is returned when we print out the return value, since that's returned by default when a method doesn't have a explicit return statement. So that's pretty much all I have for the community and contact classes. I hope this video has helped you a little bit with writing classes, using instance attributes, using the init and REPR methods, as well as writing other algorithms inside class methods. And hopefully this has also allowed you to practice things like for loops and conditionals and writing return statements and such. And that's it for this Python tutorial. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Future Programmer for more programming tutorials like this one. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.